Good morning, everyone. It is with pleasure I want to introduce Dr. M.K. Gentle. Sir is an associate professor, Department of Animal Nutrition, College of Veterinary Science, Anjora. Sir has chosen a topic for deliberation: feeding strategies to mitigate methane emission in dairy animals. Sir, you are audible as well as visible. Please start, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for introducing me. These days, you know already that the global warming that has already started, and one greenhouse gases that is related to livestock agriculture sector, that is the methane. And methane has to be discussed in a very extensive manner. So that I have chosen this topic in this your training program. So looking to the introduction, you know that
Can you unmute? Can you unmute, sir? You have muted yourself. Can you press the microphone on your headphone so that you get unmuted? Or go to this. Hello? Can you go to Google Meet? Can you unmute, sir? Yes, please go ahead, sir. Speak. Hello?
now voice is audible or not?
Yes. Can you start the slideshow as well?
Okay, okay. Now the slide is visible.
It is visible, but you have not started the slideshow, sir.
Once again, I am then okay, starting it. If the slide is visible,
Yes. Press the hide option. Hide. Yes. Please start,
okay,
sir.
okay, okay. Now the voice is also audible. Hello.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Thank you. So just I want to discuss the one of the greenhouse gases, that is the methane, that is related to agriculture, and among this agriculture also that is more significant toward the livestock rearing. So the grass energy of feed stuff that is wasted due to the emission of methane around 15% due to the methane production. So it has to be discussed in a very extensive manner. And if you see the global annual production of methane, it is around 80 teragram, and the livestock it contribute around 15 to 20% to the global warming. And among these, the enteric fermentation, it include around 25 teragram. Teragram, it is equivalent to 1 trillion around. One Arab in the you can say. So in India, livestock, it contribute around 11% in total methane production. And why the methane has to be discussed? Because the methane, it is 20 times having more higher global warming potential as compared to carbon dioxide. And even the atmospheric.
Sir, not audible, sir.
Sir,
Not audible, sir.
Can you press the mic? Have you pressed the mute on mic or somewhere? You're on mute. Can you unmute? Go to Google Meet. Go. Yes, unmute. Yes. Now shoot back to PPT. PPT. Yes. Hide.
Hide.
Click on the PowerPoint. PowerPoint at the bottom, or minimize this window. Minimize this window, sir. Hello? Sir, can you minimize this window?
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Can you start this presentation again?
Yes, yes. Now it is visible, and why my voice is also
Yes,
audible?
audible as well as visible.
Okay, okay. Then thank you very much. So as I was discussing about the gross energy of feed, it is
Sir, can you
wasted.
start the presentation now? Present now.
No. Yes, I am presenting my slide.
No, you are not. It's not visible. You are visible, you are audible, but the presentation is not.
Oh, what is happening? Now slide is visible.
Yes, sir. Please start.
Okay. Thank you. And there is technical problem. I think that. So as I was discussing about the methane, that is one of the greenhouse gases, and due to the methane in livestock, around 15% grass energy that is wasted. So there is a need to reduce the losses of grass energy through methane. That's why the livestock that is concerned toward the production of methane production. Livestock that produces around 80 teragram, 1 teragram it is equivalent to 1 trillion. And the livestock, it contributed around, in the global way, 20% methane that comes from the livestock. And if you see the contribution of India toward the global methane production, around our livestock, it contributes around 11%. And there is need to discuss the emission of methane, because the methane, it has the 23 times more global warming potential as compared to carbon dioxide. And as per the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, in 2007, they have estimated around 0.2 degrees centigrade warming up global in next decade. So these are the greenhouse gases. Among these greenhouse gases, we have to discuss the methane as per my topic. If you see these, the main greenhouse gases, among this methane, it is having 21 times more global warming potential, and their atmospheric lifetime, it is around 12 to 17 years. So the lifetime, it is only 12 to 17 years as compared to carbon dioxide in other greenhouse gases. So within this 10 to 12 to 17 years, we can finish the effect of methane in the atmosphere. That's why there is a need to discuss the methane emission. And even the effect of this global warming potential of methane, it is higher than the carbon dioxide. So there is a need to reduce the methane. There is reduced to reduce the methane production from the livestock. If you see in the percentage of these global greenhouse gases, if you see the highest contribution of greenhouse gases that come from the carbon dioxide, and then the methane, and then the chlorofluorocarbon, then the nitrous oxide. So if you see just after the carbon dioxide, there is methane. Methane, it contributes around 18% in the greenhouse gases. So there is a need to discuss the reduction of this methane production in the atmosphere. So what are the sources of greenhouse gases in general? These are the anthropogenic sources, means human related activity. They affect the production of these greenhouse gases. If you see the agriculture byproduct, if you see this agriculture byproduct, among these within this agriculture byproduct, our livestock also comes. So our agriculture byproduct, it contribute around 12.50% of greenhouse gases. Beside this, if you see the highest contribution of greenhouse gases that come from the power station, then the industrial process, then the transportation of fuels, like that, and after that the agriculture byproducts comes, which contribute around 12.50. Among these greenhouse gases, the methane, what are the sources of methane? There is only two sources of methane. One is natural sources, and another is human-related sources, means anthropogenic sources. So this is the natural sources. If you see the wetland, marshy land, it contributes around 76% of methane production, and the rest termites, then ocean, then hydrates. If you see the human-related sources, which contribute production of methane, means anthropogenic sources. If we see our agriculture-related activity, in case of human-related sources, our agriculture-related activities contribute around 40% of methane production, followed by fossil fuels and other sectors. This pie diagram also shows the contribution of methane through various anthropogenic sources. If you see the rice, rice it contributes only 11%, and if you see the livestock from the enteric fermentation, it contributes around 28%. So in earlier slide, I have discussed that around 40% methane come from the agriculture sources. So among these agriculture sources, only the rice it contribute only 11%, and the rest 28% it come from the enteric fermentation, means from the livestock sectors. If this map represents the density of methane production around this UP area, this red area shows the highest production of methane as per the Swami et al. In 2004. If you see the percent contribution production of methane by dairy and non-dairy animals, if we see this dairy animal, it produces very less amount of methane as compared to non-dairy animals. Why? Because in case of dairy animal, the energy that is being wasted as a methane, that is utilized for production of propionate, and this propionate contribute higher milk productions. So that's why in case of dairy animal, the methane production is low as compared to non-dairy animals. In similar way, in case of buffalo, the dairy animal, they contribute higher methane production as compared to non-dairy, because there may be some the methanogenic bacteria, it may be lower in case of buffalo, whereas it is higher in case of dairy animal. That's why cattle. That's why the production of methane, it is higher in case of dairy animal and buffalo as compared to cattle. Similarly, beside this dairy animal, other animals, they also contribute methane productions. Among these, camel, they also contribute highest followed by horses and pony, because they are the hindgut fermenters. Their hindgut, they possesses methanogenic bacteria where the fermentation occurs and they produce methane. Donkey and pig, they also, though the pig it is monogastric animal, but it also contribute methane production. And if you see the meal production with methane emission, in case of indigenous cattle, the methane production, it is around 41 gram per kg, whereas in case of grass-fed, it is lower, 21 gram per kg. And in case of our buffalo, it is higher, 31 gram per kg. If you see, the higher the meal production, higher the emission factor, means the per unit production of methane, it is lower, but when the production is higher, the methane production, it will be also be higher. High milk yielder methane emission per kg always lower. Yes, per unit production, it will be lower in case of yielding animals. In case of grass-fed cattle and buffalo produces low methane as compared to indigenous cattle, because their productivity is higher as compared to indigenous animals, and even the methanogenic population, it is lower in case of grass-fed animals. That's why the methane production is lower in these animals. Has the global warming started now? Yes, it is started. We are seeing that due to the increasing greenhouse.
Sir, not audible.
Sir,
Hello?
unmute your mic, sir.
Unmute again.
Yes, sir. Now okay.
Unmute, sir. Again, you are muted. Can you go to Google Meet and unmute, sir?
Hello. Now
Yes,
it is
sir.
audible.
Okay.
Please go to PPT again.
Screen is visible.
Yes, perfect. Start the slideshow, sir.
Okay. So I was just discussing around that whether the global warming, it is already started or not. Yes, it is started. In the next century, the temperature, it was increased around . I'm just forwarding the slide. Already I have discussed these points. So as the global warming started, yes, it is started in the next century around 1.5 degrees centigrade temperature that has increased. In the coming centuries, it is expected to increase temperature around 2 to 6 degrees centigrade. What could be the consequences on human and animal health due to the increasing of this temperature? There could be the number of pests that can affect the plant growth. In another way, there could be different type of outbreak of diseases that can affect the animal health and human health. And due to this also, there could be the water level could be increased. This slide show the sources of methane and possible sink. So around these are the sources. Among these sources, rice growing, they contribute around 180 teragram. And digestion in domestic animal, it contribute around 75 teragram. In animal waste, it also include 25 teragram. So if you see the around, by these sources, around 689 teragram of methane that is produced. And out of this 689 teragram of methane, only around 600 teragram of methane that is utilized through these things. Reaction with hydroxyl air in the atmosphere of these two strata, troposphere and stratosphere. Another is microbial uptake. They utilize around 600 teragram of methane. but the 86 teragram of methane that is excess, and that is available in the atmosphere. So there is need to reduce the production of methane by these sources. We have to increase the sink so that we can utilize this 89 teragram excess of methane. Then it will be justifiable. These are the various strata. Means in just previous slide I was discussing is troposphere and stratosphere. These two strata, they utilize they act as a sink. So methane production and hydrogen sink in the rumen. So what are the ways by which methane that is produced in the ruminants? First is the fermentation in the rumen, and second is fermentation in the hindguts. If you see this slide, this shows how the methane that is produced. If you see, if you are providing any feed stuff to the animal, what will happen? That will convert into volatile fatty acids. Volatile fatty acid, among these volatile fatty acid, acetic acid, propionic acid, and butyric acid, these three volatile fatty acid that is generally produced. So what will happen if you are providing any feed stuff? If this channel pyruvate to propionate channel, this channel it will be activated, then the hydrogen will be utilized, pyruvate, lactate, and propionate. And if this pathway it is also get activated, then the hydrogen that will be utilized, succinate, propionate. So in these two pathway, the excess amount of hydrogen that will utilize. If it is not activated, what will happen? This acetate pathway that will be activated, and more amount of hydrogen that will be produced and released in the rumen. And this hydrogen that will be utilized to form formic acid, and by the hydrolysis of this formic acid by methanogens, they break down this formic acid into hydrogen, carbon dioxide and hydrogen, and this carbon dioxide hydrogen again it is combined and form methane. So methane that is erected, and due to the erection of methane, there will be loss of around 15% of gross energy. So we have to think, we have to activate this pathway, pyruvate to propionate, pyruvate to succinate. Then only we will be able to reduce the methane production in the rumen. So what microorganism that is involved in the production of methane, that is the methanogen, that is also called archaea. And another is estrogens. Estrogens, it is also one of the bacteria that is available in adult rumen, especially this estrogens that is available in case of wild animals. But it is having very limited amount of competition with the methanogens. Estrogens, what will happen? They combine carbon dioxide and hydrogen, and they form acetic acid. So the methane that is not produced. Whereas in case of methanogens, what will happen? Carbon dioxide and methane that is combined with these methanogens and form methanes. So the how feed stuff, and they affect the methane production. So see, the digestible organic matter and energy digestibility, residence time in the rumen and level of intake, and the type of feed and fermentation, they affect the production of methane. Especially in case of digestible organic matter, what will happen? If you are providing concentrate, more amount of organic matter that will be digested, and it will shift toward the propionic acid production. So there will be less methane production. If you see residence time, if you are providing a roughage to the animal, what will happen? Their residence time in the rumen, it will be higher. So there will be fermentation, there will be more amount of methane production in such cases. And the type of feed and fermentation pattern, especially what will happen if you're providing concentrate. If you are providing concentrate, there will be more propionic acid production. If you're providing roughages, because it contain very less fermentable carbohydrate. So what will happen? The retention time in the rumen, it will be higher. So the more fiber degrading bacteria that will be activated, it will increase the rumen pH, and there will be more methane production. So like digestible organic matter, and around 50% of digestion in the rumen generally occurs. So if you are providing concentrate, there will be less methane production. If you're increasing the pH through the roughages, there will be more methane production. As already I have discussed, residence time, retention time. If you're increasing the passage rate of any feedstuff, then what will happen? It will not be fermented, and it will not lead to methane production. But the organic matter that is excreted through the feces, there will be degradation in the feces, and that lead to methane production also. So if you're increasing the retention time, there will be less methane production. And the increase in feeding level. What will happen if you're providing feed stuff up to the maintenance level? There will be less methane production. But if you're providing more than the requirement, what will happen? There will be more methane production in the animals. So the type of feed and fermentation pattern. Yes, this slide include that what happened if you are increasing the volatile fatty acid production through the roughages. So there will be more methane losses, around energy losses through methane, around 6 to 7% of methane that is lost when you are providing roughage as a sole source of their feed stuff. If you are supplementing roughage with the concentrate, the methane energy losses that can be reduced around 2 to 3%. So in case of mature roughages, because the structural carbohydrate that is very high in case of dried roughages, that lead to more methane production. If it is succulent, it contain more amount of organic matter, soluble carbohydrate, that will lead to less methane production. So the type of roughages, type of feed stuff, it also affect the methane production. Now the methane production that is decreased when you are providing ensiled form of roughages, because in silages it contains more amount of lactic acid, and then it provokes more propanic acid productions. So this propanic acid production, it lead to lower methane production. Now, as per today's topic, I have come to my present topic. So what are the scenario? What are the various practices by which we can mitigate methane productions? So first is these are the various strategies by which we can reduce the methane production from the dairy animals, livestock. So first is direct inhibition, and the second is ionophores, then the stimulation of estrogens, then the methane oxidizers, then the propionate enhancer, then dephonation, probiotics, and immunase. I will discuss one by one. First is the inhibitors. These are the chemical substance which can directly inhibit methane productions. You just remember the pathway of volatile fatty acid productions, where the formic acid that is formed, this formic acid that is broken down into carbon dioxide and hydrogen, and then the methane is formed. So these are the chemicals which can be used for binding methanes. They bind with the methane, and they reduce methane productions. So this is the just function of this. But these chemicals, they are having some toxic effect when you are feeding for the long time. It reduces methane around 20% and even 50%. But by long-term feeding, long-time supplementation, it may cause some toxic effect. Some of the chemicals like chloroform, it is a carcinogenic. Some of these chemicals like bromochloromethane, it can deplete. It can deplete the ozone layers. So there is a need to evolve some other natural synthetic compound which can have a lower impact on the atmosphere, as well as it can reduce the methane production in the animals. So now there's a lot of research it is being done in the 3-nitropropanol. It is having high potential to reduce methane production. So this is the these are the way by which these inhibitors they act. First, they combine with the methane and they reduce methane production. And the second is what happened. They inhibited the reduction of methyl coenzyme M to methane by uncoupling electron transports. So simply what happened, this chemical they combine with the methane and they do not release. That's why they reduce methane production. The second strategy is the ionophores. Ionophore, they're the ion-containing antibiotics. Among these ionophores, generally the monensin and salicylomycin, these are the used to reduce methane production in the dairy animals. So what will happen? These monensin and salicylomycin, they increases the bacterial population from gram positive to gram negative. What happened? This gram negative bacteria, they increases the propionic acid productions instead of increasing acetic acid. Acetic acid production favor methane production, whereas the propionic acid production they favors reduction of methane. So it increases the gram negative bacteria in the rumen. And in this way, they reduces the methane production from the dairy animals. Another is stimulation of estrogens. Estrogens already we have discussed. The estrogens, it is also one kind of bacteria that is available in the hindgut of some of the mammals and termites. In wild animals like deer, it is available in their alimentary tracts. But when you are introducing these estrogens in the domestic animals, they are not able to compete with the methanogens. So it is not the so favorable active potential methods. It is unable to compete with the methanogenic archive. Another is methane oxidizers. What happened? Methane that is produced in the rumen, it is oxidized by some of the chemical and they are broken down into again carbon dioxide and hydrogen, and the hydrogen that is utilized for the production of methane. Some of the microbe that is also available in the gut of pigs that also favor methane oxidations. Another is propionate enhancers. Some of the chemicals that is available, and it is the intermediates of TCA cycles that favor propionic acid productions. And due to this propionic acid production, methane that is reduced. Why? Because the hydrogen that is utilized in case of propionic acid productions. So dicarboxylic organic acids such as malate, these are the intermediate of TCA cycle, fumarate and acrylate. These are the intermediate cycle of various pathway which favor propionic acid productions. So malate is converted into fumarate, then succinate, and ultimately it converts into propionic acid. Same when the acrylate and propionic coenzyme, they convert into propionic acid. So in this way, if you're providing these intermediate organic acids in the diet of animal, we will be able to increase the propionic acid productions, and in another terms, we will be able to reduce methane production in the animals. Another is dephonation. Dephonation is the process by which we can reduce the protozoa. You know, already in the rumen there is various kind of microbes that is available. First, in the abundant amount that is available, that is the bacteria, then the protozoa and the fungi. Bacteria, it is having a function to degrade various chemical like carbohydrate, protein and fat. These are degraded by these bacteria. Whereas the protozoa, what happens, it is also having duplicate function of bacteria, and some extent what will happen, this protozoa, they engulf bacteria. So it is not so beneficial role in this in the rumen ecosystem. And the methanogenic bacteria, it is also called archaea, that is available in the outer surface of protozoa. Means with protozoa it is having symbiotic relationships. If you are removing this protozoa, we will be able to remove methanogenic bacteria. So this is also one method by which we can reduce methane production in the rumen. So various plant secondary metabolites like anti-nutritional factor that is called tannin and saponin, they are able to do dephonation in the rumen. They are able to reduce the protozoal population in the rumen. And when this protozoal population that is reduced, the methanogenic bacteria, it will not be able to attach with the protozoa, so their population that will be reduced. So these anti-nutritional factors, plant secondary metabolites, they reduce the methane production in this way. Now another is probiotics. There is two words, prebiotics and probiotics. So probiotics, generally the Saccharomyces cerevisiae and Aspergillus oryza, these are used to reduce methane reduction in dairy, especially the Aspergillus oryza, that is more significant as compared to Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Saccharomyces cerevisiae, that is generally used in case of monogastric animals, whereas in case of ruminants, Aspergillus oryzae, these are used to reduce methane production. Around 50% of methane that is reduced, and around 45% population of protozoa that is reduced by supplementation of Aspergillus oryzae in dairy animals. So this flow diagram, this shows how this Aspergillus oryza reduces the methane production. Aspergillus oryza, they utilizes protons, there's hydrogen, and it is act as a electron receptors, and in this way it reduces methane production. Another way, it decreases protozoal populations, and another way, it is also increases the feed conversion efficiency of feedstuffs, and increases the production of animals. So in this way, it utilizes the energy for higher milk production instead of allowing for methane productions. Another is it is very debatable approaches, and it is very recent approaches, and nobody has still it is validated. But the vaccine, it can also hypothesize that it can also reduce methane bacteria. But still a lot of research that is going on in the global level, but nobody has come with very evident sources. Another method that is by which we can reduce the methane production by increasing the productivity of animals. Once you are increasing the productivity of animals, the per unit production of methane that will be reduced in case of higher animals, because energy that will be utilized for higher productions. So among these, the first is diet type, and the second is forage type and supplementation, and third is high genetic merit dairy cows. Then another is bovine somatotropin. It is also one hormone that is used for increasing the milk production of animals. So first, diet type. If you are giving a balanced diet, the methane production will be low. Why? There will be proper ratio of propionic acid, acetic acid, and butyric acids. If you are providing roughages as a sole feedstuff to the ruminant, what will happen? It will increase the acetic acid productions, and there will be more methane production. So we have to put acetic acid and propionic ratio proper. If you are providing forage at a maintenance level, if you are providing forage at a maintenance level of animal, then in such cases, what will happen, around 6 to 7% of their gross energy, that is wastage, in the form of methane. But when you are supplementing with this forages concentrate, then you can reduce this gross energy wastage to 2-3%. And silage, that also reduces methane productions. High grain diet, the addition of soluble carbohydrate and the passage rate increases rumen pH. So what will happen if you are providing concentrate, a soluble carbohydrate, then the pH of rumen, that will be decrease. It will favor propanonic acid production. So in this way, the methane production, that will be lower. You just say by this slide, if you are giving only roughage, then the gross energy of feed stuff, that is wastage, the methane production around 6 to 7%. But when you are supplementing roughage with concentrate, then the passage rate, that will be increased, pH, that will decrease. In this way, the protozoal population and the methanogenic population, that will also decrease. So there will be less methane production. Even if you are providing whole concentrate to the animal, in such cases also the methane production, that is reduced. But in case of sole concentrate feeding to the dairy animal, there will be chances of acidosis, their alimentary tract, that will be disturbed. So this roughage is supplemented with concentrate. It is the better way to reduce methane production. Under this forest type and supplementation, as already have discussed, energy and protein supplement. When you are providing protein supplements to the animal, what will happen? Their microbial population, that will be increased. Means good type of microbes, that will be increased, that will reduce the pH, and the more amount of propanate, that will be produced. So in this way, the methane, that will be reduced. In the same way, by this way, the productivity of animal, that will be increased. The animal may have higher milk productions, and their growth, that will be also increased. Non-structural carbohydrate means if you are providing soluble carbohydrate to the animal, then their productivity, that will be increased around 20%. And by the methane production, that could be reduced around 25%. If we see high genetic merit dairy cow, some extent it is also said that our indigenous cattle, they produce a higher amount of methane as compared to exotic animals. So it is the debatable matters. But the point is that if the animal is producing higher amount of milk production, though per unit methane production, that will be low, but the total methane production by these animals, that will be always higher as compared to our animals, because the body weight of our animal, that could be only around that may be around only 200 kg, whereas if you see the exotic type of cattle, their body weight it could be around 1500 kg body weight, and average around 1000 kg. So definitely the per unit methane production, it will be lower in case of high yielding animal, whereas it is higher in case of low yielding animals. So if you're having high genetic makeup of dairy animals, so you can increase the milk production. In this way, you can reduce the methane production. And the high genetic merit cow, their fertility, lameness, mastitis, and metabolic disorder, it has to be taken care. Otherwise their productivity, it will be hampered, and it will lead to higher methane productions. One of the approach, that is the hormones, that is the bovine somatotropin, that is also used to increase the milk production in dairy animals. What it happens, It increases the formation of insulin-like growth factors, and in this way, this insulin-like growth factor increases the feed conversion efficiency of animals. In this way, it increases the meal productions in the animal. But this somatotropin, it cannot be used for the longer terms. But if it is having long lasting effect of this somatotropin, if you're injecting for one doses, and if it is working for 1 month, then it will be beneficial. But for every day injecting this somatotropin hormones, it may hamper the health of animals. So it is not so beneficial. And the last one, and I have reached to arrive to the concluding part of this topic. As we have discussed around, there is production of 30 to 40 teragram per year methane in the atmosphere. Means around 89 teragram of methane that is excess in the atmosphere. And in every year, around 30 to 40 teragram of methane that is available in the atmosphere. So there is a need to think to reduce the sources of methane, and there is a need to increase the sink of methane, so that the more amount of methane that could be utilized and the very less amount of methane that could be available in the atmosphere. Now the methane, it is having the very shorter atmospheric lifetime. It is around only 12 to 17 years, but their greater radioactive absorption capacity needs to be discussed, because this greater radioactive absorption capacity, as we have discussed in the earlier slide, it is around 21 to 23% as compared to carbon dioxide. So there is need to be discussed. Now, the first and viable method by which we can reduce the methane production, there is a need to shift the pathways from acetic acid to butyric acid, from acetic acid to the propionic acid, so that we can reduce the methane production, and this hydrogen that can be utilized for more propionic acid production. And once this propionic acid production is increasing, the productivity of animal that will be enhanced. Another is increasing animal productivity. Yes, if you are increasing the productivity of animals, the per unit production of methane that will be reduced. If you are having high genetic type of animals, then the productivity will be higher, and the per unit production of methane that will be lower. So in case of our Indian context, the productivity of our animal that is very low, though the body weight of animal is very low, but productivity is very lower. In terms of that, the methane production per unit of product, it is higher as compared to exotic breeds. So there is development of new product delivery system for anti-methanogenic compounds, alternative electron acceptors in the rumen, and reduction in the protozoal numbers in the rumen. High quality low fiber sources of carbohydrate is to be introduced in the feeding of animal to reduce the methane production. Then thanks. If anybody is having any question, then I will be happy to reply them. Hello. Hello.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. No,
If anybody having question, they can ask, no problem. Somebody is giving their question in the text. I think that they should speak directly, so that it will be better. I think that.
Now the question is, generally feeding supplementation of anti-methanogenic agents are fails to achieve the methane reduction. when they feed long term, how to overcome this if you have any approach?
Yes, yes. What will happen if you're feeding this anti-methanogenic compound for the longer term? Then it will not be viable method. Animal rumen microbes, they are able to adjust, they are able to adapt with this chemical compound. So it is not more beneficial method. The most beneficial method is that simply just shift the propionic acid production instead of acetic acid production by simple supplementation of some amount of concentrate to the dairy animal. That is the most viable method by which we can reduce the methane production. In our Indian context, what happened? We only provide roughage to the animal, and only roughage it lead to more methane production. So there is need to supplement some amount of concentrate to the animals. So in this way, we can reduce the methane production. Yes. Next.
How acetogens reduce methane?
Yes, estrogens, it is one kind of bacteria, and it is available in the alimentary tract of deer, wild animals. What happened? These estrogens, they combine with carbon dioxide and hydrogen, and they form acetic acid. And this hydrogen that is utilized, that is not available for methane productions. So carbon dioxide and methane, they are utilized for synthesis of acetic acid. That's why the methane production that is reduced in case of estrogens. But it is not able to compete with the methanogenic bacteria in the rumen, in domestic animals. So it is also not so viable and so strong approaches for reducing methane production in the dairy animals. Next, anyone? Commercially, if you see how we can reduce the methane production commercially, the first and most commercially approach, as per my view, I think that if you're providing precision feeding to the animal, then we will be able to reduce methane production. Precision feeding means if you are giving proper amount of nutrient to the animals, then these nutrient that will be utilized for higher meal productions, for their gain, and this energy that will not be remains for methane productions. So in this way, we can reduce the methane production in the commercial way. You just provide the TMR, total mixed ration. Yeah, you supplement concentrate with roughages. So this could be some commercial method by which we can reduce methane production. Hello.
What about balanced ration?
Balance ration. Balance ration means if you are providing roughage and concentrate in a required amount, then it will be considered balance ration. Balance ration means you should provide roughage as well as concentrate to fulfill the requirement of dairy animals. Balance ration, if you are providing balance ration, it will be adequate. It will reduce the methane productions. But the approaches of feeding in case of India, it is not balanced. It is not fulfilling the requirement of animals. It is just supporting. They are just providing roughages, and the roughage it leads to more methane production. So if you are providing a balanced ration, it will reduce the methane production. Hello.
Sir, thanks a lot. There is one more. What is the drawback of defaunation, sir?
Yes, there is no any drawback of defaunation, because as I have already stated that the protozoa, it is having duplicative role of bacteria, and moreover this protozoa it engulf a beneficial type of bacteria. So it is only detrimental in the rumen system, though it is good for synergetic ecosystem of the rumen, but it is it is not having a beneficial role in the rumen. So it is better to remove in the early period. Protozoa, because protozoa, it provides surface for the attachment of methanogens. So if you're removing protozoa in another way, you can remove the methanogenic bacteria. So it is a good way to reduce methane production. Hello,
Thanks a lot, sir.
Sir, good morning, sir.
good morning.
Sir, I am myself, Dr. A.V. Jansi Sinho. It's a very nice presentation, sir. Sir, in a global scenario, so most of the countries, they are accusing our country because of higher livestock population, we cause this one, the higher methane production, sir. So
Yes.
one thing you told, we can do precision feeding. So other things, whether for high yielding animals, sir, high yielding or high milk producing animals, we can increase and we can reduce the population, sir. Whether it is
Yes, you are telling right. If you are increasing the productivity of our animal, in this way also we can reduce methane production. And another way, if you are simply correcting the feeding of our indigenous cattle, then we will be able to reduce methane production. What happened? Our indigenous cattle, they are only allowed roughages.
Yes,
If you are
sir.
supplementing some amount of concentrate, then we will be able to reduce methane production. This is the simple way.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, I think we have gone way past our time. On behalf of participants and on behalf of all the organizing committee members, I would like to extend our gratitude to you. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for being.
Thank you. Thank you very much to everyone.
Participants can leave and join back at 2:30.
Okay.